We're going to look at exactly how Sambi plays, what he brings to the team, and whether Arsenal fans should be very excited or not about their new signing. So why have Arsenal signed Sambi Lokonga? Well, they have no midfielders really, because Granit Xhaka looks to be off. The options they've got at the moment, actually, Xhaka's not even on this board, but they've got Maitland-Niles, Emile Smith-Rowe, who's basically a 10 or an inside forward, I'd say. Thomas Partey, yeah, he's a lovely player. But Maitland-Niles, who else we got? El Neni and Joe Willock. There we go, El Neni and Joe Willock. That's basically it. It's not exactly an elite midfield at the moment, so Arteta has some work to do. He's trying to sign a particular type of midfielder for Arsenal. He's not just trying to sign anyone who's decent at midfield, and Xhaka's a very particular player. Xhaka tends to have more touches and passes than most other players in the Premier League. That's not an exact stat, but he tends to feature very high on lists of passes, either long or short, and has largely dictated the tempo of how Arsenal played for the last little while. If Xhaka's gone, something that needs another way to play. And Arsenal have had to change their system an awful lot since Arteta came in. They changed from a 3-4-3 to a 4-2-3-1, but Arteta really wants to play a 4-3-3, something that looks a bit like this at the moment. Now, Sambi says he can play as the box-to-box. He's listed on Football Manager as an advanced playmaker, but he is a 6. He is best as a 6, and he comes from Anderlecht. He's 21 years old. He was on the Belgium standby list for the Euros, didn't get into the squad. He's captained Anderlecht, he's been captain since December. And he's a lovely little player. He's about 6 foot tall. He's tall. He's not very strong. He's not very aggressive either. So that's something they'll probably need to work on. But the real reason that he's been signed over other midfielders is that Arsenal ranked 13th in the league last season for progressive passes, as in getting the ball over a long distance to get the ball up the pitch. Now, there's a video we did on Tifo IRL, or maybe Tifo Football, I can't remember which one it is, but about Arteta's donut formation that he has created, in which Arsenal effectively just pass around the midfield forever and never ever get the ball. It looks a bit like this. So they never get the ball into the middle. It's just a circle. So their passing network tends to look like this. It's just a donut, essentially. It just goes round and round. There's no progressive passes. And what Arsenal and what Arteta wants is to be able to get the ball from back to front quickly. And you think, like, you associate Arsenal with playing short passes, and building play that way. It's absolutely fine. But why take 10 passes to move 10 yards up the pitch when you can do it with one? That's the kind of thinking behind it. And you saw it in some training videos when Arteta first came in. He wants to get the ball from A to B quickly. He wants urgency in his team. Arsenal have been far too passive for far too long. So Sambi is signed with that in mind. Now, one of the things that you'll find in that Athletic article I talked about earlier, subscribe, is that he tends to make medium range passes. So the short pass is going to be into, I don't know, it's going to be Mari, it's going to be Smith-Rowe. That'll give you arrows as options. It's going to short passes, safe passes. This is what Arsenal tended to do, Xhaka especially, playing these sorts of short passes to get the ball around. And the opposition block just largely goes around it and they stop them from getting the ball forward. So the ball goes here, the ball goes out to the wing. Saka can't go anywhere with it because they step in front of here, you see, so there's no pass in there. And then it has to go backwards. And that's where it creates that stupid donut shape that is just not good. Now, what Sambi does, or at least what he's done in the Jupiler League, the Belgian top league, in which he played more passes per 90 than any other player in the league last season, so that's quite good. What he tends to do is he finds a way to make this sort of pass. So I'll set them up in this sort of pentagon shape. He'll find a way to make this pass, whether it's one step and then getting it in. He'll find a way to make that pass. Or if Pepe looks here, he'll find a way to get to this side of it and make this pass. And it's that progressive pass, it's like over 20, 30 yards, that just takes the team forward quickly. The idea is that it turns defence into attack very quickly. So Arsenal don't just pass and pass and pass. If you pass short, you got more control of the game. So in theory, you can move up the pitch in total control of the game, like Manchester City do. But it slows it down, it allows the defence that you're playing against to get back into their shape and block that space. And that's when games slow down. The amount of times you'll have seen Man City play in a 0-0, 1-0, you just can't break the team down, that's what happens. If you can get it forward more quickly without just punting it long, because it's not that Sambi is then dropping deep like here to launch it into a channel. He's trying to fire these medium range passes. So like, say Aubameyang's unavailable here, he just can't get it through this block here. Saka's going to be floating in amongst here, can't talk today. And what Sambi will do is rather than play the short pass here, he'll just find a way. It sounds so obvious, but he'll find a way to get that in, and he just does it with great technique. He sees the pass, he's got the game read in front of him, and he fires it. And this just takes Arsenal up. And then Saka, look, in this hypothetical made-up situation, that puts Arsenal 3v2 at the back, just right here. Just that one ball. That's what Arteta's looking for, and that's what he's hoping Sambi will bring in. Another way they can use Sambi, I'm going to call him Sambi, like I said, that's what he wants to be called, is in a double pivot. So I think Arsenal will play a 4-2-3-1 quite a lot going forward. I mean, their top transfer target is supposedly Martin Odegaard, but Real Madrid really like him. So Smith Rowe, I like him as a 10, he's very nice. Now, if you play Sambi and Partey together, Partey is going to be more of a runny person. He's more box to box, he likes to carry the ball, he's very good at that, and then he can spring a pass. He's been injured quite a lot so far though. Sambi is going to be able to make the difference with his passing. But this is where Arsenal need to look at what players need to bring in next, because if Sambi is the holding player and Partey is there, Smith Rowe is a 10, he's not really this player here. If we're talking about them needing to be more dynamic, the person who might play alongside them just now would be Joe Willock. He can play as a box to box, he did really well at Newcastle last season. He can play as a 10, that's kind of his position I think through youth systems, but in this Arsenal team, you might find him being like an advanced playmaker as this 10 role. So what else will look like if it's in a 4-3-3, like this, Sambi's going to pretty much bridge with this triangle here. So Sambi's always going to be here. And you'll often see when he picks the ball up, when he's been playing for Anderlecht, the furthest up the pitch he ever really gets is about here, or like this sort of position. He's never here, because he's the holding player. And this is the thing, that Arsenal need a playmaker. If they can't get someone onto the ball, it tends to squash them down. There's just no space to create. You cannot create from this position here because there's too many people around you. He's surrounded, 2v1. What's he going to do with the ball? Nothing's going to go in here. He's going to be surrounded, can't get out, has to go back. And again, with Arsenal, it goes round and around and around and around. What the hope is with Sambi is that he can come here, he'll find a way to make this sort of pass, to get Aubameyang in, this sort of thing. Rather than it going back and round in a U shape, it's going to go from Sambi looking up, seeing the short pass to Partey or out wide to Chambers or Pepe and firing the forward ball in. And that's the thing Arsenal want to do. They want to be able to change tempo, stay slow when they can, but quickly go from A to B, get up the pitch with progressive passes, which remember they were 13th ranked last season. That's not good enough the way Arteta wants to play. I don't think we'll see the 3-4-3 much this season with Arteta because he's trying to build the profile of the squad that he wants. Sambi's obviously been recruited as part of. He's got a shape in mind. He's got a plan. What he's doing there, and it was recommended by Thierry Henry to the club. Vincent Kompany has been coaching him, which obviously knows Arteta from his time at Man City. So he comes with a lot of a high rating essentially, and to have captained your club at age of 20, 21 now. Yeah, he can play. One thing they'll definitely hope is that he doesn't follow the same path as his brother. His brother played for Spurs briefly for a while back in 2008. He's now out in the nether of football clubs elsewhere. So yeah, that's not going to happen with Sambi. I think he's a tidy player. Needs to be a bit more aggressive probably when he first adapts to the Premier League, but give him a bit of time, it's going to be good. Seems to suit exactly what Arsenal need to do. If he fits in, it's going to be great. He reads the game really well. Excellent defensively, positionally. Strongest point on him from what I've watched is his read of the game and his tactical understanding. As soon as he passes the ball, you'll see every time he'll pass the ball and he'll instantly move to make sure the passing angle's on. So say like he's right here and someone pushes him, he passes here. Rather than staying here to keep this guy quiet, he will instantly run into space to make sure that whoever moves it next, the ball can be circulated constantly. He's going to help with the tempo, he's going to help with me to be quickly, get up the pitch better. He's going to make them better. He's a nice player.